Hello, my name is Dr. Maya Byfield. My business is The Phenomenal STEMist. I'm so excited to be here in Orange County because it's where I live. I live in Apopka, Florida. And I decided to make this business because I saw a need for underrepresented students to be successful in STEM, which stands for science, technology, engineering, math. And the best way I can do that is just provide products for parents to prepare them, whether it's a book or online STEM camps or just video podcasting. My goal is to transform this community, especially those who are underrepresented. And the way to do that is to help parents understand their children's minds and basically develop them at different stages of their lives to be prepared for a successful STEM career. Thank you so much. That's why I'm here.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Hello, everyone. It's the Phenomenal STEMist on Phenomenal Financial Freedom. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, good evening, good evening. We're talking about how to pay for college without student loans, top 9 ways. Before I get into that, let's talk about my homework. Number one, you got to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Dr. Maya Byfield. Just go over there, click subscribe, click the notification bell, and of course, my book, The Phenomenal STEMist: How to Prepare a Successful STEM Student from the Womb to the University. Gotta get that. Gotta get that. It's on Amazon as we speak. Just go on over there. The best way to do that is take a trip over to my website, www.phenomenalstemist.com. I had a couple of people tell me they had trouble finding me. www.phenomenalstemist.com. All right. And of course, you can find me everywhere: Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. You'll find me. All right. All right. All right. Tell me. Talk to me. See a few of you watching. Some of you look like you're in Facebook. I think a couple of you are either on LinkedIn or YouTube. Talk to me. Say hi. Tell me where you're watching from. Of course, the number one fan is in the house. The number one fan is in the house. Mommy is here. But I see some more of you. Where you watching from? Ah, you're shy, but it's okay. Top 9 ways to pay for college without student loans. You're going to get right into it because I know I went on a rant this week about student loans and how it should be required. An essay should be required, and people didn't like that. Listen, that's all I'm asking. I'm not asking that you go through a long, tedious process, but you'd be surprised how many people don't take the time to fill out scholarships because they do not want to write the essay. Because they feel they're not going to get the scholarship. Why waste the time of going through the process? Well, I'm telling you, you're going to get forgiven. So go through the process. Go through the process because you'd be surprised how many people could get opportunities, but because they are fearful that they won't get what they desire, they don't even try. Or they've experienced writing a lot of essays and got rejected. We're going to talk about that. Top 9 ways. The first way is the scholarship. The first way is the scholarship. Hey, Sister Carter, how are you doing? It's my number 2 fan. My friend said to stop calling y'all fans. Supporters. Y'all are my supporters. Number 1, scholarships. Now, there are a lot of scholarship opportunities. I currently am on two scholarship boards, one of which I'm a chair, and I've seen firsthand the lack of application. Now, why don't students apply to the scholarships? I have a scholarship for my department, I have a scholarship for a grant. One scholarship program is basically just paying small amounts of money, maybe $500. But the other one is thousands of dollars. And I tell you this, I get the same number of applicants. Now, I think the reason why I get very few applicants is because the standards are high. For one scholarship application, it requires you to have a 3.5 GPA, and you'll be surprised how many people don't do due diligence in their schooling. Trust me, I'm a college professor. I teach adults, and some of the most lackadaisical people I know are adults. Y'all get on y'all children. You talk bad about your children. I teach adults. I'm gonna stop there. I'm gonna stop there because I have colleagues on LinkedIn watching me now, probably. Adults, children, same thing. You know the lackadaisical behavior you see in your children, they probably get it from you. Sorry. Sorry, y'all. Sorry. Sorry. You or the father, you or the mother. But I'm telling you that I teach adults and some of the most lackadaisical people, meaning people who don't go full throttle. They basically take shortcuts. They basically for whatever reasons, have reasons as to why they can't go towards their full potential. Really, only 10% of people get A's in classes, if that. If that. Most people settle for the C. But if you settle for the C, you're not getting a 3.5 GPA, and therefore you're not getting a scholarship. Very difficult. So you're going to have to be competing with the masses for the low level scholarships. Scholarships that don't require you having much. Talk to me. I see a lot of people watching today. What is it? Why am I writing a whole bunch of essays and not getting in? Maybe you're competing with the masses. But you see, my program requires a 3.5 GPA for one scholarship. The other one requires that you major in biology. The other one requires that you take a research class. The other one requires that you become a part of a cohort that is held accountable. See, now it's like, oh, that's too much. That's too much. One of my colleagues is at one of the universities here. She said they got 72 applicants for an institution that has over 60,000 people. My institution has 30. The institution I'm talking about has over 60,000 people. And guess how many people apply for this scholarship, these resources? 72. 7-2. What's the math on that? You know why? It's engineering. And how many people want to do the due diligence of majoring in engineering? You see what I'm saying? So the first step to getting scholarships is to getting ones that everybody's not applying to. Therefore, you're going to have to get into a niche and put yourself outside of the box and hold yourself to high standards, right? I didn't play for graduate school. I went to a graduate school that probably cost I think it was $50,000 a year at the time. And I went there for 6 years. Do that math. $50,000 per year for 6 years. No, I don't think it was 50 though. I think it was like 30. Let's say it was 30. Let's be nice. It's probably 50 now. But 30 back then. Let's say it was 35. So 3 times 6 is so 180,000. I didn't have to pay for $180,000. And on top of that, they gave me 25 times 6. And on top of that, they let me live in their apartment that was a studio apartment on the 19th floor for only $600 a month in New York City. That's cheap. I lived well in my 6 years of graduate school in New York City. School free, but guess what? Guess what? Guess what? It was a PhD program. There are only 2% of the people in the world that go get a PhD. You get my point? What's my point? My point is your child is going to have to put themselves outside of the masses. They're going to have to put themselves above the fray. They're going to have to do well in high school. 3.5 GPA. Or in my situation where I offer a 3.0 GPA for the full scholarship for students that are underrepresented in STEM, 3.0 is all I'm asking, a B average, right? You're going to have to put yourself out there. You're going to have to do essay. You're going to have to do a research class. You're going to have to do more than is expected of you. That's the key thing. And how many people, I'm talking about adults, want to do more than expected? All right. Everybody's going to the collegeboard.org. Everybody's going to fastweb.com. I'm just giving you some examples. Niche.com, moolospot.com. I think a lot of people are going there. What I would suggest is that some of you major in science, technology, engineering, and math, and you go to places like the National Science Foundation, STEM scholarship programs. I guarantee you'll probably get there's a higher chance that you get a scholarship in that. And many of you, what did I say? I said, I'm gonna type it in. NSF STEM. What does that stand for? That stands for National Science Foundation Scholarship STEM Program. These are programs specifically for undergraduate students that are majoring in science, technology, engineering, and math. And there are programs all over the country, both at university level and community college or state college or undergraduate level. And they're looking for science majors and they're looking for technology majors. And absolutely, PJ. My program, for instance, is focused on incoming freshmen because what we're trying to do is trying to get them right into the proper classes early so they don't flail and waste time. So we are definitely looking for incoming freshmen. Full ride. I went to a high school, to try to advertise my program. Guess how many students showed up to, well, it wasn't just my thing. It was like a fair where multiple universities came. I don't even want to talk about it. I went to a high school in a predominantly black community, poor, and somehow there is a disconnect. I have personally emailed people that I know are eligible for the program, and somehow there's a disconnect. I know what a disconnect is because I basically told you, congratulations, you are eligible to apply for this scholarship. You see what I'm saying? That's my STEM program that I'm trying to get specifically first year students. And if you're majoring, let's say you want to do healthcare, just don't say healthcare. Say you're majoring in the sciences. Most healthcare fields, anyway, people major in biology, people major in biochemistry, people major in chemistry. So focus on your first 2 years just majoring in STEM fields, and there's a higher, let's say you want to be a nurse anesthetist, major in biology for the first 2 years, get all the prerequisites for nursing anyway, and get this scholarship. National Science Foundation, STEM programs. There's so many programs trying to focus on getting underrepresented students. Who are those people? African Americans, male and female. Latin us and O's. Latinx, if that's, I don't believe that's, anyway, I'm not going to say Latinx or Latinos and Latinas, male and female, and females in general. And guess what's happening, guys? Because so many of these programs are not getting applications from students of color, many of our white sisters are getting these they are considered underrepresented in certain STEM. They're not even really underrepresented in biology, but they're underrepresented in STEM, so they have access to these programs, and they're applying. And so programs that are meant to try to increase underrepresented minorities are not engaging as much as they can because the students are not applying. I'm glad your daughter is a biology freshman major. You said she's going to FMU. Check to see if FMU has a National Science and STEM grant. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I don't know. I know my school does. Number two, what am I saying? Scholarships, but not just any scholarships. You can't apply for the same scholarships that everybody's applying for. That's why you're getting rejected. You're gonna have to come outside of your box and go to scholarships that nobody wants to do. But that means you may have to get good grades, like nobody wants to get good grades, because a lot of people don't like getting good grades. I've seen it. I see it all the time. You might have to major in things that nobody else wants to give a shot. That might be engineering. That might be technology. That might be chemistry. Ooh, yeah. That may mean you need to get your kids prepared early in STEM, because if they hate it when they're a kid, they will not do it when they are in college, and therefore they won't have access to many scholarships. Got to get them liking math early. Number two, you got to choose the right school. What am I saying? The top nine ways, according to Clark.com, to pay for college without loans. Number two, choose the right school. Choose the right school. School matters. Schools matter. A lot of people want to go to school. They have these dreams of going away to school, going to these places. My question is why? How many students waste time? How many students go off to college, don't even graduate? They spent the first 2 years partying. Why? Because they wanted to go to this party school. Listen, this is not the time to waste money in college. Maybe back in the 60s and 70s when college was free. Maybe back in the 80s and 90s when, like me, it only cost me $10,000 to go to Oakwood. But it's costing y'all $30,000 to go to Oakwood, and y'all ain't making that much money more. Like, my mother is not making that much more money than she did. Well, she's retired now, but my point is, the wages are stagnant. So the parents aren't making as much money as our parents did. Maybe a little. I make more, but I have a different degree, a different job. The people that are doing my mother's job now as she did it back then are making similar wages. But college is 3 times higher. So this ain't the time to play around in college. You got to choose the right school. Public schools are typically cheaper than private ones. Community colleges for the first 2 years are basically free. Like, you could use Bright Futures and not have to pay anything for school. Choose the right school. Consider the school. What school are you going to? If you're going to a private school, you need to get a full ride. And be careful of these full rides, because they might be saying, "Oh, full scholarship for tuition," but you might as well buy a house. The amount of room and board you're paying, and I just recently saw that FAMU, most of the students are going back into the dorms because they can't afford the rent, because the rent prices have skyrocketed. Normally, at universities, the first years get a room because the second, third, fourth years want to move off campus. Guess what? The second, third, fourth years are moving back to campus because it's cheaper than renting. Now freshmen are having trouble getting into dorms. This is serious. This is serious. Like, do you know this? Are you planning ahead? Do you have your financial aid award letter yet? You should. By now you should have your financial aid award letter for your kid. How much aid are they getting? What are they eligible for based on the school? This school is giving you $10,000. This school is giving you $20,000. Does that really make a difference? It might. Because this school might only cost $6,000. Guess what? You get a $4,000 refund. This school that's only giving you $10,000 costs $6,000 to go there. So not only you get a full ride, you're getting $4,000 back in your pocket to pay for books, car, gas, whatever. This school is giving you $20,000, but guess what? It costs $40,000 to go there. So you're gonna still have to come out of pocket for the other 20. Don't get twisted. Don't get tricked. Don't get tricked by these big packages. Let's see what people have to say. Doc Keene said, if your family situation will allow you to stay home, I had no living expenses for medical school for 4 years, still at home. Thank God I listened to my parents who said to go to school close to us. Sometimes you got to stay home. I know you don't want to stay home because you want to go to school. But a lot of time, I'm telling you, if you look back at the stories, I had a great time at Oakwood. I have no regrets going to Oakwood. The reason why I went is because it was a historically black college university. I was an only child. I had to leave home. I feel like it was good for me. So I'm not saying everybody shouldn't leave home. Guess what? I got scholarships, and I sold literature. I worked. I did a lot to stay at Oakwood because I was not about to have my mother take out no parent loan, and I wasn't about to take out any high level private loan. I did take out student loans, just the Stafford. That means I had to foot the rest because I only got $8,000 in Stafford. So that means Stafford subsidized. Stafford subsidized. I didn't want to pay interest after I graduated from school, and I didn't want that much debt. So I had to do multiple things. Number three, go to community college first. Go to community college first. There is nothing wrong with community college. I know you think it's something wrong with it. Listen, I don't have an ego. Maybe that's what it is. But let me tell you something. I am not inferior. Okay? I went to Oakland University. That's a good school. I went to Albert Einstein College of Medicine, where I received my PhD in molecular pharmacy. That is a good school. I did a postdoctoral fellowship in neuroscience at the University of Central Florida Medical School. Like, I don't have degrees from no rinky dinky place. I didn't pay for my degree. Like, I'm pretty smart, and I teach at a community college. And I have colleagues that are smart that teach at a community college. And let me tell you something. Freshman biology, I teach freshman biology. Me, with the PhD postdoctoral fellowship. Me, I'm sitting there talking to them. They come to me for office hours. You go to a top university, the first 2 years, freshman biology, they're being taught by teacher's assistant. They're being taught by TAs who have a master's degree. They're being taught at large classrooms, 3, 4, 500 sizes, compared to my 24. Don't sleep on the community college. And here's the last thing I want to talk about community college. My professional development is not in science. My professional development is in pedagogy. Like, I get trained, community college focus is on the best way of teaching. So when your kid goes to the first 2 years of school, They are being taught by people that are required to master the skill of teaching. You don't know how many students who have finished UCF that are coming back to Seminole State College or Valencia College. They're coming back because they want to take prereqs to go to some kind of healthcare professional school. And they say, Dr. Byfield, this is the best teaching I've ever had. And not just your class, in multiple classes. Because at the community college, our focus is teaching. And there's some of your students who are not ready to be in 100 of students in the classroom where people who don't focus on teaching, rather they focus on research. Here's the best of both worlds. I do both. I get training on pedagogy and I have training in research. My colleagues are the same. Don't sleep on community college. Don't sleep on it. And especially if you're in high school, you need to do that dual enrollment. And like I said before, your child needs to be I didn't say it to you guys. I do all kinds of seminars. I say this all the time. Let me rephrase this. Make sure when you are doing dual enrollment, your kid is taking general ed classes. Don't let them take introduction to basket weaving. That might be an elective to get them to graduate high school. That is not a general ed course to get them to graduate from college. They need to be taking some kind of algebra. College algebra is what you need, right? But if you can't take college algebra because you're not prepared, you take intermediate algebra. It's better to do that in high school so that by the time you get to college, you're ready for college algebra. US history, some kind of humanities course, whether it be studies, some kind of humanities course, some kind of social science course, psychology, sociology, some kind of science course, whether it be biology 1 or even concepts of biology, which is a general ed course. It may not get you to be a biology major, but at least it'll get you to an associate's degree if your child decides to change their mind. My point is this: don't have them make sure when those of you who have your kids in dual enrollment, when you take the class, make sure they are general. Say, is this a general education class? They have to tell you. They won't. They know that. They know that language. They know that language. They will say, no, this is not a general ed. This is an elective. Say, no, thank you. No, thank you to the electives. No, thank you to Introduction to Basket Weaving. Humanities, social science, math, science, general science, both a biological science and a physical science. Right? History class. Okay, those are general education. And you have to take 2 of them. You have to take A's and B's. Don't waste that dual enrollment, guys. Use that dual enrollment to your advantage so that by the time your kid graduates from high school, they already have an associate's. That means they only have the two more years of undergrad. Number 4. Go with honors. So apparently there's this new program called AmericanHonors.org. It guarantees your admission to big name schools if you do the coursework at one of its 2-year schools. It's like, I guess it's this kind of thing like Direct Connect or something like that. So they give you scholarships for it. You take the first 2 years, and therefore it's just much cheaper. Much cheaper, guys. Number five. I'm talking about the top 9 ways to pay for college without loans. Number five, work study. How many of you guys worked while in college? Anybody worked while in college? I see a couple of you watching. Talk to me. Anybody worked while in college? I did. I worked all through college. There's nothing wrong with working. However, if you are a STEM major, I think it is very important that your work is not too consuming. I don't want you to work full time. I worked in work study where, my freshman year I was like a reading coach. A reading coach where, like, I help people speed read. I taught people how to read fast. It was simple. Like, two people came to me a week. So the rest of the time I was studying. Work study. Work study. I got paid to not work. That's the best kind of job. The best kind of job is to get paid to not work. Like, be careful to take be careful, I'm sorry. Be careful to not take up jobs that involve too much working, especially if you're in STEM. You gotta focus on your studies. But work study was crucial for me. It really took money away from the bills. So I work, I I did the simple jobs. Tyreek, you work. You're doing a good job working. Um, I worked a lot in the breaks. The first couple of years or first year, I would come home and have break. I'm like, but then I realized that's a waste of time. So I was a literature evangelist. I sold religious books during my breaks and made thousands of dollars in the process. I got internships. I made thousands of dollars plus scholarships. Internships, the United Negro College Fund. Listen, I stayed. You have to have your kid. Too many children these days are depending on their parents to pay their way through school. I don't know if you told them that you were going to do that. I don't know. My mother told me, "Listen, I got this much to give, but you gonna have to fund the rest." That's how my mother did it deal with me. So, like, I had to fund my education through loans, very little. Like, as a support, just by the time I graduated from school, I only had $15,000 in loans. Not much loans. I was able to pay that off easy, right? Only about three and a half a year. The rest of my $10,000 came from scholarships and working during the breaks. Not too much though. Not too much, right? So you're gonna have to, like, settle for like ramen noodles. You know what I'm saying? I had to get the 10 meal plan. Like, my freshman year, I got the 15 meal plan, 3 meals a day, 7 days a week, or the 21. I don't remember. But I realized, listen, I'm wasting money here. I went back from 15 or 21 or whatever, the third level, the highest level, to the second level, to the point where I was like, I'm good. I don't need that much food. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Doc King says, I worked all through college. 5:30 in the morning, I was up at the bakery. Wow. This is a position right here. And you were then in class by 9. Listen, I like working in college. The reason why I like working in college, because it really set the schedule. You'd be surprised how many students I see in my lifetime where I ask, "Are you working?" and they're saying no. The ones that are working are doing much better than the ones that aren't working. A lot of the times. Why? Because college is different than high school. Sometimes you only have like one class a day and you are off the rest of the day. What do you do? For folk that don't work, they playing pool, they're playing spades, because they're not studying. They're not studying. They're not studying. I would say last week to one of my friends that was at a game night, like, I had the priority. I studied, I played spades, I played pool. In that order. I studied first. But most people, it's the opposite. Is they play spades, they play pool, then they study. Wasting time. Wasting time. But work gives you a schedule. It gave me a system. Work study gave me a system. And a lot of the times I could study while at work. Very, very important. Number 6, talking about the top 9 ways to support yourself in college without student loans. As I said before, the students have to get to the point where they are the ones that fund themselves. Oh, I lost my train of thought. I stayed in the financial aid office, especially around my sophomore, junior, senior year. I was always there. Like, is there any opportunities? Is there? And one day, I never forget it. I got a call from financial aid saying, "We have an opportunity for you." United Negro College Fund needed a student who was a biology major who's from New York. That was me. That's me. That's me. And how did they know that was me? Because I stayed in the financial aid office. How many of you call them all the time? Because if you call them all the time, they know your name. And if you match something that, because usually a lot of the times, like my program, like I need like 10 students. Tyreek, shout out to Tyreek. He's one of them. He's in my 3rd cohort, right? So every year we need about 10 students in the cohort. Currently, I think we have like 2 applicants. 2 new ones, 4. So I need 6 more students by August. And we find different ways to do it, but we need to spend this money. It's not like it's not like other institutions where you could just hoard the money and not use it. In terms of the National Science Foundation for the government of the United States of America, if we don't use the money, we lose the money. And that's money that's not given to the generation. But you got to apply. You got to apply for it. You got to know about it. I could do so much to try to go to different places. But let me tell you something. Too many parents are waiting for guidance counselors to come to them. And I'm telling you right now, because I send information to guidance counselors in high schools all the time, and they are tired of going to lackadaisical parents and lackadaisical students. So if you want to know what's going on, you gotta have to go to the guidance counselor. Listen to me. If you're waiting for guidance counselors to come to you and tell you about the opportunities, they're not coming. They're looking for initiative. They are using that as a way to discern who has motivation. So if you're waiting for people to come to you, you're not going to get the scholarship. You have to go to the guidance counselor's office. You got to go to the financial aid department, and you got to go all the time so they know your name. So by the time they know your name and the opportunity pops up, they're like, "Oh, yeah, Maya's from New York. Maya's a biology major. Hey, Maya, apply for this real quick." And I got it. $6,000, y'all. You know how much $6,000 was in 1999? $6,000 was a full scholarship for me, guys. $6,000. Full tuition paid. And I had already had my tuition paid. So I got a refund. Let's see what people have to say. The financial aid lady was like my second mom. She gave me loans that were scheduled for the other people who weren't coming to ask for help. Yeah. Stay in that office. Don't take out loans though. I have one for you by August 2023. Fret not. Well, Tanera, this is community college at the in Florida. This is not a scholarship for universities and things like that. You have to live here unless you're about to move to Orlando. I don't know of. Yeah. Tyreek says 100% actually found out about your program from going to my career counselor. So see, Tyreek is one of my scholars. Shout out to Tyreek Waring. Excellent young black man. He went to the counselor. See that? He went to the counselor. They not coming to your kids, y'all. I'm telling you, they're not coming. If you're waiting for them to come to you and tell you about something, it's just not gonna happen. I'm sorry if you're frustrated that's not the way. But let me tell you, I've tried that. I've literally sent emails to people. But if you don't have initiative, you're just not going to apply. The initiative comes in the search. Number six, my favorite, one of my favorites for you older heads, employer reimbursement programs. It's time that you let your job pay for your schooling. They give an example. Clark Howard, he got a job at IBM as a bill collector because he knew he would be able to pay for his master's. They paid his master for his. They paid for all he had to do was maintain a B average, and they reimbursed him for everything. You see that? Have your job paid, especially those of you who want to go get a master's degree and a PhD. I'm just not a fan of paying it yourself. I'm a fan of having other people pay for that. Right now, Orlando Health, I know for sure. I'm not sure about Advent, but students that work at Orlando Health can go to Valencia and Seminole State College for free. Yep. Now you don't go work in there. Those of you who in my program, that's not for you because you already go to school for free. If you get that, then you'll lose my scholarship. But those of you who don't have scholarships should consider working in institutions that pay off. And they usually do it for community. They'll do it for community college much quicker than they'll do it for a higher level university, higher university because it's cheaper. Orlando Health pays for their workers to go to community college for free. Did you know that? Employer reimbursement is big. It's big, you guys. Did you know that? Who knew that? Who knew that there's some and there's nothing that we do that other institutions around the country don't. Like states follow each other. So if you're watching from, New York, Michigan, I don't know where you're watching from, look into your healthcare institution and see if your healthcare institution pays for their workers to go to community college for free. Dimitri says dual enrollment is great while in high school to stay away from debt. Nice when you live across the street from Sumter State. Yeah, it's real easy. But like I said before, make sure when you take those dual enrollment classes, they are general education classes because they won't count towards a college degree if they're not. Number 7, grants. Grants are typically reserved for students who have some kind of need. That's a little tough, right? And I feel like that's the struggle. For instance, my grant is for students that have need, all right? Some kind of need. So there might be students that have parents that have a lot of money that might not be eligible for my program. And that can be frustrated because it's like, well, my parents have money, but I don't have money. But if you really think about it, you have the financial stability to support yourself. There are some people that don't have that. So if imagine if it's tough on you, it's really tough on them. So it can be frustrating. But here's the thing. It's there in financial aid, there's something called the EFC, it's the expected family contribution, right? There might be people who may not get a Pell Grant, but still will be eligible for scholarships like mine because their estimated family contribution is not that much, right? So that's also, very important. Those of you who are older than 25 and you may want to consider getting off of your parents, you know, off of there, basically them not declaring for you because if that's the case, then your estimated family need goes down and then you'll be able to increase. I'm a fan of supporting your children via these programs that help to pay for them to go to school. But what happens is you increase your EFC, and then they don't get eligible. They don't get their eligibility for grants and other types of scholarships because you save so much. So I don't have a problem with you saving for them to go to school, but make sure you don't do that at the expense of your own personal retirement. Make sure you put you save yourself first. you put your retirement first and you say, listen, you're going to have to foot this bill. I can help you, but my retirement comes first. When you do that, sometimes your EFC is able to drop down and they're able to get more financial aid. Consider be, be thoughtful of that. All right. But there are a lot of grants. If you have first generation students, I had students that were going to another institution, not mine, and they didn't even, what happened is the school started putting scholarships in there. They ended up dropping a class and they thought that they dropped it because they didn't pay for it. Come to find out, their school had, without their unknowing, had given them a scholarship. Sometimes people, the schools, based on their knowledge of who you are, they just give you high level just scholarships that you don't even know where they're coming from. So you need to find go to your financial aid department and ask for your award letter. That's when you're going to find out your expected or estimated financial contribution, and that's when they'll say, okay, because you have this much money, you're eligible for Pell Grants, you're eligible for this scholarship, you're eligible for that. But if you listen, fill out the FAFSA, y'all, and you have to do this every year. I have students that filled out their freshman year. Tyreek, I hope you filled out your FAFSA. You got to do it every semester, every year. You can't do it one time and think, oh, it's happened. Every year, a student almost lost a scholarship because they hadn't filled out their FAFSA. They got a scholarship last year, but they almost lost it for this year because they didn't fill out their FAFSA. These things I realize are not known. They're not known. And unfortunately, nobody's telling you. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Share this. I did 2 presentations. I did one recent. I shared it. I think yesterday, where I really went in with a expert on financial aid. She's real. That one is real good. You got to know the rules of the game, and nobody's gonna tell you. Tyreek says even places like Publix give, yeah, they give partial reimbursement. That's right. That's right. But remember, you want to use your priority, because for those of you who have need, the more money you get from outside sources, all that does is take away from your need. So like, be careful. I tell my students all the time, you're working and it's removing your scholarship. You're working and it's removing your financial aid. Like I believe in working, but make sure you're managing yourself very well. It's just like people who are on Social Security too early. Like, you can't make more than a certain amount of money, because if you do, it'll take money away from your Social Security. It's like this. It's a delicate balance. You got to know. Number 8. Number 8. Sorry. Working during school. So there is work study. There's work during school. Work study is my preference. Work study is my preference. But um if you want to work for more money, you can. Make sure the places you work pay reimbursement. That's what I like. I'm a fan of working, not too much. I think you should work part-time and go to school full-time. You don't want to be in school for a long period of time. That's waste of money. But part-time work, full-time school, perfect. Perfect. And lastly, for the parents who feel like, I don't want my kid to work. As I said before, I've been teaching a long time, and I think there's value in going to school full time, for sure. So the best way is to go to school full time, but I think they should have something that keeps them on schedule. And there's nothing like a job that will do that. Preferably work study, which is light. Lastly, number 9, look for affordable alternatives. Look for affordable alternatives. All right. Now, I'm a fan of college. Only if you want to go. That's how I'll put it. I'm a fan of college only if you want to go. I'm not a fan of graduate schools just to get a title. Like if you trying to go to graduate school just to get somebody to call you doctor, just lie and call yourself a doctor. Like in my opinion, is the same value. Matter of fact, it's more valuable to lie and call yourself a doctor than be in debt for hundreds of thousands of dollars and doing the same job that you did if you didn't have a doctorate. Like get a doctorate if you need one. Get a doctorate if you want to use it. But if you just want the title, you know what I'm saying? Like you really could just call yourself doctor. I mean, Dr. J called himself Dr. J. You know what I'm saying? Like you could listen. What are your thoughts? Any questions? That's it. Number 9, look for affordable alternatives. Go to directional schools if you like. Go to trade schools if you want. Go get certifications. Get a associate's degree in a technology and just do certifications. You probably make more money than somebody with a master's degree in education. I tell you that. So look for affordable alternatives. What do you want to do? And do it in an affordable way. I think it's more the way it seems is it's less about applying for scholarships and more about choices in the institutions where you go and choices as to how much you're going to pay and choices in terms of how much you're going to work. Janera asks, what are your thoughts on taking a full scholarship in undergrad for a major that is outside your major interest area? I'm all for it. I'm so, I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. Let me not say I'm all for it. In my opinion, undergrad is undergrad. Like unless you feel the passion of God that you have to major in English lit, you know, so be it. But um I remember when I was in college and I would tell my friends, just graduate. Like, don't stay here no more. Don't stay here longer. Like, what classes have you taken? Oh, let's put it together. Don't stay here more than 4 years. Like, why are you here more than 4 years? Like, just finish with your undergrad and then you can decide what you want to do after. Don't stay here 6, 7, 8 years trying to major in something in undergrad. That's just my perspective. I feel like there's so many jobs, especially if you don't know what you want to do, that any degree with skill sets that you can somehow master is what's more important than just having a degree. So staying in school just to get a degree versus, getting a degree in something that is full ride, like the example I gave, um, majoring in biology the first 2 years, you're getting an associate's degree. That's so general with two making sure that you take bio 1 and bio 2 and some research classes, which can be helpful, but at least you went to school for free and you got all the other general eds done, which are a requirement for something that you may change for undergrad. You may say, okay, for excuse me, for to get your bachelor's degree. But the first 2 years is so general. If you got a full scholarship for a bio, like I've seen people who turn on the scholarship because it's biology focused, and I'm like, well, majority of the classes that you're taking are the same, with the exception of these two classes. Take the full ride, and if you still don't like it, change when you want to go, to the university. But people are like, no, I don't want to take bio 1 at all. I want to take bio 2 at all. So there you have it. But to me, it's like, and here's the second thing, Tanera. It's like, well, if you don't like it, how well will you do? Like, I don't want you to major in engineering, get the scholarship for engineering, but are tortured by engineering. Like you fail it, you know. I don't want you to do that either. But if it were me, this is me talking. Like I remember I before I got the opportunity with the $6,000 scholarship that I talked about, there was a program where if you minored in business, they would pay for your schooling. If you had a biology degree but you minored in business, they would pay for your schooling for the full ride for the rest of the 2 years. And I almost, if I didn't get the other opportunity, I was gonna take that. I would have mind. Yes, I would have. I had no interest in business, but to get a full ride to school, I would have took those extra class. I would have minored in business. Yeah, because I was already minoring in chemistry, and so and I already got those things done because like minoring in chemistry only required one extra class because biology and chemistry are so much alike. So minoring in chemistry only did one extra class. So I really could have taken a few extra classes my junior and senior year to minor in business, and I would have. With that scholarship requirement, like I would have to do my major and minor in business. I would have done it for sure. It's so worth it. And for undergrad, it's like give yourself some room to explore. You don't have to be so pigeonholed. So yes, that was a long way of answering your question, Tanera. Absolutely, I would have taken a full scholarship for undergrad in a major that was outside my interest because I could still do whatever I'm interested in after undergrad because undergrad is just so broad. Hmm. But that's just me. Some people were like, "No, I gotta do what I love," and but undergrad is so broad, and undergrad is the time a lot of the times to learn new things. You shouldn't really pigeonhole yourself that much. And you look how young you are, 18 to 22. You know how young you are, and you got an opportunity to go to school for free. I mean, I'm talking about schools that cost $200,000 a year. It costs $30,000 a year to go to my alma mater right now. 3 times 4 is one. That's 120. 3 times 4 is 12. Excuse me. 120. $120,000 for people who still getting $40,000 a year in their wages for their kids, and some of them have two, three, four kids. Listen, you guys. I hope I've been helpful. I hope I've given everything I got. Um, but it's so necessary. It's so necessary. Don't get conned. Be very careful. I said before, there's people like, "Ooh, I got a $20,000 scholarship, but it costs $120,000 to go there." That means you got to pay $100,000. Don't get conned, y'all. There's nothing wrong with going first 2 years. There's nothing wrong with staying home. There's nothing wrong with working. Write those essays. You hear me? Write those essays. Major in those out of the box majors that really, really need people like you in it. Like move yourself out of the crowd. That's how you're gonna go to school for free. That's the only way you're going to school for free, y'all. You gotta move yourself out of the crowd. Find that guidance counselor. Find that financial aid director. Go to your niche professor and say, "Hi, my name is so and so. Are there any opportunities?" Make yourself seen. They're not coming to find you. I hope I've been clear. It's been real. 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 This was awesome. I did Oakwood as an international student. It was tough. Learn the ropes now for my baby for next year. Awesome. I'm glad I've been very helpful. Remember, share this. Always remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Subscribe, hit the button, the bell. Check out. I have a chapter in my book that focused specifically on this. Specifically, it says how to prepare for, where is it? I thought it was there. Preparing to be a successful STEM student. Where is it? Oh, it was here somewhere. Oh, how to financially prepare for a career. I think it's the one with preparing to be a successful student in college. I think it's that chapter, chapter 5. I think that's where I focus heavily on what to do. No, no, no. It's actually in high school. I literally have a checklist for you on what to do. What you need. Yep, 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 yep. Of, of course, you can always go to www.phenomenalstemist.com. Thank you guys. You have a good night.